Lisa, we're taking your plant questions today.
Lisa Briggs from the Briggs Company is answering your questions, so you can email them right now to tips@channel3000.com. Welcome back.
Hi there, guys.
Good, how are you?
You all look so springy.
Yes, you do too.
Thank you.
Love that.
You're really up in your game here, Lisa. Come on.
All right, let's start with Diane. Diane has a very good question. What hardy zone are we now for the Madison area?
Okay, so traditionally, central Wisconsin was 4, and the lower the number, the colder it is. So the higher the number, the further south. And then there was sort of a 5B around Madison and on the lake edge. But last year, the USDA changed their maps, and we are now 5A, and along the lake is now 6B.
Oh,
so
wow.
So the numbers are 10-degree increments, and the letters are 5-degree increments.
And what does it mean?
So a zone 4 meant that it could get between 20 to 30 degrees below 0 on a regular basis.
Okay.
So zone 5 is -10 to -20. I don't think we have had very many nights, even in the past few years, that have been like much below, like 10 below.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And 0 to 10 is like a zone 6, which is, we're talking like Connecticut.
Okay.
So this
put
is
that in
important.
perspective.
It's important to know what to plant and when to plant, right?
Yes, and part of it is too, is that as our zone creeps up, there are also things that we won't be able to plant because we'll be too warm for them. A lot of the plants that we really love to grow in Wisconsin, like lilacs, for instance, they need a cold period. They need a period of time in the winter to set flower buds. What they call a chill period. So if we get to the point where we don't have some of those chill periods, some of the plants that we've traditionally grown will be off of the list, but then others that are farther south will be on the list. So it's an interesting thing, and of course gardeners have always been ones to push what I call the hardiness envelope anyway. So we're all pretty excited about it, but then you think if it keeps going in this trend, we'll probably lose some plants that things that we won't be able to grow anymore.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, our next question is from Candy. What can I use to assist yews to grow? We've had them for 5 years and they haven't grown much.
Okay, so it depends, Candy, on what kind of yews you have. There are yew varieties or cultivars that are very, very slow growing. Like they might grow an inch or 2 a year. So if you have one of those varieties, that is probably fairly typical. There are other ones that will grow a little bit more, but mostly yews are gonna top out at like 6 to 8 inches a year. They're pretty slow growers anyway. So a lot of the foundation ones are quite slow growing. That's what keeps them, that's what a dwarf means. It doesn't mean that it stays small, it means that it grows more slowly.
Okay.
So it might be that. Other than that, yews do best in a shaded spot. They don't like wet feet, but they do like well-drained soil. So maybe some of those things. You could try some fertilizer for evergreens and see if that perks them up a little bit. But it might be just that they're slow growers.
Okay. All right. Bill said his peppers and cauliflower look great, but no produce the last 2 summers. All of the other vegetables are normal, and he rotates his vegetables in his large garden.
So what rotating means is there are crops that are in families, and you don't want to grow those things in the same space every year because there are diseases that come with those. So if you move your crop groups around, you have less disease. So peppers and cauliflower, they're in two different groups, and he does rotate. I would say for peppers, last year was really hot, but also very, very dry. Peppers and tomatoes are in the same group. They are crops that they're very water-based, and so they require a fair amount of rainfall. Also, if he likes hot peppers, they take a long time for them to grow enough to obtain that heat, so they're slower. So I would say what he should do is start them now. You could certainly start cauliflower now indoors, and then it can go outside probably mid-April, depending on what the temperatures are doing. It's quite cold tolerant. And same with the peppers, especially if he likes hot peppers. They really take a long time to develop and are much better if you plant something outside that's this big rather than something that's this big. You could always 2-by starts at the garden center instead of seeds and go from there and have a bigger start.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for your questions, everybody.